Now, Pavarotti was a good friend.
Hello, and welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti, here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. As a disclaimer, this channel is for entertainment purposes. These are my opinions, and I'm not here to slander anyone or drag anyone through the mud. I'm simply here to discuss this case. Now, here recently I've listened to some content creators out there discussing my investigation into the case, and I always appreciate when anybody discusses my investigation. One of them was suggesting that maybe I was, I had help from people like WSU Mom Kim and other people maybe leading my investigation. And I just want to say that my investigation into this case and every aspect of this case is completely independent. Now, I have researched extensively. I've watched thousands of other content creators' videos, and I've done my own research, but I've never actually had a conversation with anyone. Other content creators, subscribers. I don't give out my email, so I've never had an email conversation. Any conversation that I've ever had with anybody, you can look into my comments on my videos. That's it. That is it. That's the only way you can contact me, because I believe in transparency. And knowing that, though, I think it's important for me to help my viewers understand how I have come to the conclusions that I've come to. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to explain how I've come to every conclusion in a short video because, again, my research on this case is extensive. And anything that I've brought up, I have verified it and corroborated it with several different other pieces of evidence that has corroborated what I'm saying. But the initial portion of the investigation, what makes me different than all the other ones out there, I think, is the fact that once I find something and I start investigating it, until I find something that tells me that I'm going down the wrong path, I will not stop. A lot of people get, on these theories, and they're decent theories and they have some evidence to back them up, but they'll talk about it for a short period of time and then they go down another rabbit hole, and then next thing you know, they don't even bring it up again. That's where I'm different. I started on this investigative path, and I am like a dog with a bone. I don't give up until I find something that says, nope, I'm not going down the right path. And then I'll go down a different path. But I've never waned from what I found in the beginning of this case. So let me share with you how I figured out, or how I've ended up in the direction that I've ended up. And we'll see if you agree with my conclusions from things. So we've got to go all the way back to the atrocity itself, because this is where I started. And when I looked at things from this perspective that I'm about to share with you, I think you'll agree that my investigation from there is the right way to go. So let's take a look back at the King Road residence and the atrocity itself and see what we can extrapolate from that.
First thing we have to look at is victimology. Now, here are the 6 occupants of the house the night of the atrocity, but not all of them actually lived there. So to a perpetrator with no real connection to the group, this is the victim choice that he would have to actually choose from. Now, some have claimed this is a Ted Bundy type scenario, but we all know Ted Bundy SA'd his victims. So looking at research on Bundy, you'll see Bundy had a preference for women with long, dark hair parted down the middle. And Bundy only attacked people who were vulnerable, who he could manipulate, most notably, who he could overpower. Bear in mind that Ted Bundy never attacked a man. Only vulnerable women that he crept up on and unalived. Bundy would never hit a man. So from that perspective, the three residents of the house that would make the most sense from a victimology standpoint would be these three right here. The other victim doesn't match the victimology at all. So to see what really happened, we have to revisit the actual crime in the house and the occupants itself. For an assailant, this would have been the most optimal target and fit his victimology. The second most optimal target would have been to go through the living room, down the stairs to the first floor, down to the most secluded bedroom in the house where the victim also fit the victimology. He could have then, after he was done, left down the hallway, out the front door, and back around to his vehicle. But we know neither of these actually took place. What happened was the assailant entered through the patio, went to DM's door, ignored it, and decided to go up the stairs instead and unalive his intended victim. However, there was somebody else in the room with her. Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there that night. She had moved out 2 weeks prior and was just in town visiting to show off her new car before she headed off to Texas. Now, what happened next changes everything, because keeping in mind, victimology tells us that any of these four would fit a serial unaliver's measure of a specific type of victim. Blonde hair, equal in size, even hairstyles similar. But that is not what happened. He did not go after this one, which would have been the most obvious area of the house to target, or this one, the second most obvious area of the house to target. Instead, he breaks completely away from victimology and he goes after this one. And this gentleman just happened to be in the room, but it did not slow him down one bit. Now, the assailant comes back down the stairs and he bypasses this room with the victim that fits his victimology in it. He bypasses leaving out the patio door, which is the quickest escape route. He also bypasses going across the living room and down the stairs to the second most optimal victim that fits his victimology. Instead, he chooses to traverse all the way down the hall to the other bedroom on the other side of the house, where a victim that does not fit the victimology and her boyfriend are both in the room, and it doesn't slow him down 1 second. He then leaves, bypassing the other two victims again that fit his victimology, and casually goes out the back door into the night. Because of this, we can determine who the actual targets in the house are. And it's the two women that reside in the two rooms that were attacked, without a doubt. With no signs of SA whatsoever and victimology completely out the window, we can absolutely eliminate a serial unaliver as a possible suspect in this atrocity. Now, any investigator worth their salt at this point will try to determine three things and verify them. Motive number one, capability and proximity to the crime scene. But motive and capability will eliminate many suspects. The motive for a boyfriend goes out the window when you look at the two different targets in the house. Motive and capability eliminates the college students on steroids, because to silently target two different targets in a house without alerting the other roommates or harming them would not be something that a college student out of his mind on steroids would be able to accomplish. So that only leaves one opportunity for motive, and that is revenge. However, revenge of this type from an obvious experienced perpetrator, which spells adult, normally comes from the drug trade. However, in diving in to the lives of these young individuals, no proven link to the drug trade can be found. So the next logical step is to look at family members that are close to them that may have had involvement in the drug trade. And was their involvement related to arrests, and was anything happening with those arrests around the time of the atrocity itself? Both the mother and the stepmother of the two targeted victims both had major drug charges reduced in court just prior to the atrocity. Did someone in that world who is capable in proximity think that they were set up?
And that is how my investigation began, and it has not stopped since. And it will not stop until I am 100% certain that I have the true assailants in custody. Now, I've heard some content creators out there unsure whether or not they can use my videos. Anybody can absolutely use any of my videos, any footage of them that you choose to use. I always put a slight, something you should think about though. When you use my videos, critique is always fair. Anybody can critique anything that I do. I have no problem with that. If that critique borders on unwarranted scrutiny though, just beware. I will make a video in return to make sure that that scrutiny does stay fair. But please like and subscribe to the channel. Please post your comments, your thoughts, your criticisms. And until next time, Pavarotti's out.